Meantime, former President Trump laying out a tough on crime agenda. He was in Battleground, Michigan yesterday, laying down the facts about the real Kamala Harris.
Take a look at this here. It said, is it true? Did crime rise under Trump and fall under Biden? No, comma, the opposite is true. This was a study group that went out and doesn't care. They do the numbers. And there was another one that a historical comparison of the collapse of law enforcement in U.S. cities. The drop in arrest rates over the last few years is without precedent. Lowest arrest rates we've ever seen. They don't arrest people anymore.
He was citing data from the Crime Prevention Research Center, which their numbers also show violent crime fell by 17% in the Trump administration. Let's bring in now live the president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, John Lott. He's author of the book as well, More Guns, Less Crime. John, welcome, first of all. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
You know, you say, among other things, that Democrats are hiding the rise in violent crime under Biden-Harris with tricky statistics. We saw this today with the jobs numbers that were revised. They were lying about how many jobs were created by Biden-Harris. What's going on with crime stats?
No, I guess I'd phrase it slightly differently. Look, there are two different measures that we have of crime. There's the FBI data on reported crime, crimes that are reported to police. And then you have the Bureau of Justice Statistics, which is also in the Department of Justice. Their national crime victimization data, which measures total crime, both reported and unreported to police. And before 2020, those numbers usually went together. When one went up, the other went up. Since 2020, they've consistently gone in opposite directions, and by huge amounts. I mean, you take the data for 2022, which is the last year that the Bureau of Justice Statistics data is available. Well, the FBI showed a 2% drop in reported violent crime. The National Crime Victimization data showed a 42% increase in violent crime. We've never seen such a large increase in 1 year or 2 years ever. Incredible. In the data.
Well, and we're citing some of those numbers of over 40% in our Chiron as well. What do you think's behind this? Because when I see your book about more guns, less crime, you and I both know the Second Amendment's on the ballot in November, and the Democrats are not mentioning crime from the podium in Chicago. And if they do talk about guns, they're going to talk about gun control. Your thoughts?
Right. Right. Well, I think there's a few things that are going on. One is starting in 2021, there was a huge drop in the percentage of police departments that were reporting data to the FBI. In 2020, 97% of police departments reported the data. By 2022, less than half of police departments were reporting complete data. A third didn't report any data to the FBI. So that's a huge problem. But I think there's a more major problem that's going on, and that is the other part that the president referenced, and that is the collapse in policing. If you look at large cities, let's say over 1 million as an example, though this is true across all cities, in the 5 years before COVID, 44% of reported violent crimes resulted in arrest. It started falling in 2020, and by 2022, it was down to only 20% of reported crimes.
Wow.
Only 8% of total violent crimes result in arrest, and only 1% of total property crimes in those cities result in arrest. And just because
that's crazy.
It's unbelievable. We've never seen such incredibly low numbers. There's been nothing even remotely close to this since that data began to be collected. And it's not surprising to me that if you have over a 50% drop in just reported arrests for reported crimes, that you're going to see an increase in violent and property crimes occurring. Look, people can go to a CVS or a Walgreens in many major cities from New York to Chicago to Los Angeles and see that everything's behind glass now. That if you want to go and buy something, you have to have a sales clerk come over and unlock the glass and stand next to you while you go and read the ingredients on the packages and decide what to go and buy. People know that that wasn't the case a few years ago. But
That's right.
so they see firsthand these companies don't want to do this. They're being forced to do it because of the amount of theft that's occurring. And
You're right.
And
And John, pardon me, but Chicago, where they're holding the convention, Donald Trump was talking at that event as well. Every single weekend, there's literally dozens of people shot. And I don't know how many of them are being arrested. Based on your numbers, it's probably very few. And it just goes on, and they're literally doing nothing about it. John Lott, make sure everybody check out his book. He's got multiple books on the importance of battling crime in America. John Lott, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you for being there.